Hi, I'm Debbie from the Quilt Journal, and today I'm going to be talking about stitch regulation. Whether it's on your domestic sewing machine or on your sit-down long arm, the process is going to be exactly the same. So let's talk about a couple things before we get started here. I have two layers of batting on here. I have a cotton and a Hobbs 80/20 that I've been playing around with just for a little added loft and seeing how I like that. And I've left some black thread on here just so that you can see my stitches. Obviously, normally I wouldn't be stitching with that. But because of the two layers of batting, I had to adjust my presser foot level. And you'd have to do that whether I was on my George, the sit-down long arm, or whether I'm on my domestic. You increase the thickness of your fabric or of your batting. You're going to need to go ahead and do that. And in my baby lock, it's called free motion foot height in my control menu, and I can adjust the foot height up or down according to the thickness of my fabric. You want, right now my presser foot is up, but you do want your presser foot when you go to sew that it hoovers just enough that you feel like you're not plowing the South 40. The other thing that I want to point out is, before we get started here, is I want you to take your speed and put your speed up as fast as your machine can go. Your machines can adjust in different ways. On my George, I have a dial, but go ahead and turn your speed up to as high as your speed can get. And let me readjust my angle of my lens so you can get a close-up of the fabric, and we'll get started. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to push the pedal to the metal, and when you first do that, you're going to go, whoa, I just don't, didn't drop my feed dogs. I just don't sew that fast. And you're right, this is way uncomfortable for me. So it doesn't matter what it looks like, you're going to reach up there and slow your speed down to, I'm not a fast quilter, to a speed that you feel comfortable with. That seems a little bit slow though for me. And do this for like 10 minutes or so. Just doodle your way all over this piece of fabric. And sooner or later, your brain will get used to the sound. And I can switch very quickly from here to George, and my ear picks up on my happy place of where I like it. But you're eliminating your variables. I have my foot all the way to the ground, so I am no longer controlling my speed. Really, after you just kind of tootle around here, the only thing that's left for you to control is how fast you move your hands. And so you begin to notice that, and just spend the next 15 minutes or so working on getting how fast your hands are moving. Now, I'm not saying that this is written in stone. If I am doing something like ruler work and I have a lot of starts and stops, I'm going to slow my speed down. If I'm doing something like pebbling and I really need those little circles to be smoother, I'm going to maybe speed it up just a little bit. So, just keep that in mind and get your happy place going, what feels right for you, and tweak it. And I think you're going to find out when you're no longer controlling your speed with your foot, that it is pushed to the floor and you've got your one constant speed going, that you've eliminated one of the things that can change your stitch length, and you're just really concentrating on your hands. Now, some people like to use the start-stop button on their machines that some of your machines come with. I don't really like to do that. I feel that when I'm to the end of my quilting, I lose at the very end of it control when I'm having to reach up and turn it off. When I let off my foot, it immediately stops. Which brings me to my next little tip. Sometimes when we're quilting, especially if you're doing something like ruler work, you know, when you have a ruler down on your quilt, we're putting a lot of pressure on the quilt, and not a lot, but firm pressure on your ruler to move it along. And sometimes as we get started, you get a big honky stitch in there that just looks terrible. Or if you have a bigger quilt with weight, it looks bad. And that is the only time that you really don't put the pedal to the metal is when you're first restarting after I stopped. I'm going to give it a little slow in spot and then go back to my pedal to the metal. And you're never even going to see the two little stitches that I took at the beginning there. They're just going to flow into what I have. So there you have it. That is my tip for stitch regulation. I think if you get your speed down to a point where you feel is manageable, and then keep that at a constant speed with your foot to the floor on that pedal, and just adjust your hands, I think you're going to be amazed at how great your stitches look and how even they are. Well, thanks for watching. Once again, it's Debbie at the Quilt Journal. Happy quilting!